Sziasztok, ez itt az SZJApodcast újabb adása, és hát ezúttal egy nagyon neves meghívottunk érkezett méghozzá Észak-Amerikából, pontosabban az Amerikai Egyesült Államokból. Barry Smith lesz a vendégünk, aki hétszeres Stanley-kupa-győztes edző, és hát emellett óriási tudás van mögötte, úgyhogy kérlek, engedjétek meg, bemutassam nektek Barryt. Barry, thank you very much for coming and being here together with us at this podcast, and welcome at the SZJA.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the invitation to be here. So I have to thank Antal Elad for the invitation, and of course for Attila for having a chance for me to be on your podcast. So it's my pleasure to be here, and I'm learning as much as I'm trying to give.
You worked also in the Continental Hockey League, so in Russia, in St. Petersburg. Is there a difference, or I guess it's a difference, but what's the difference between the KHL and NHL?
A tremendous amount of difference. I mean, you never knew what the rules were in the KHL. I mean, I love what I did. You know, I was very lucky to have Gazprom as our sponsor and person behind me. And Alex Medvedev, who was my main person, was very positive, and I could work with him. And also, too, I was very fortunate because I had some Russian players who wanted both Scotty and I to come to Russia to help the hockey. But Scotty said, no, I'm not going, you go, and I did. And that was Igor Larionov, Slava Fetisov, you know, Sergei Fedorov was from our program, who was a great Russian player, Slava Kozlov, and of course, you know, Vladdy Konstantinov. So those guys had all been part of our Detroit program. And Slava Fetisov was big in the Russian hierarchy. And Igor's over there coaching still. Mm-hmm. So they helped me. You know, come and I felt my job was to give the Russian teams a little more North American mentality, and for me to learn, you know, the Russian mentality. So I can tell you, I offered to do once a month to work with all the Russian coaches in the program. You know, all the way from the learn to skate, all the way up to the junior programs. So I would meet with those coaches once a month. So I got there in July, and we started practicing, and I met with the coaches, and they looked at me like I was some foreigner from, there was nothing that they liked about me because I was a foreigner. And I replaced a very big name, Mikhailov. Boris Mikhailov was the coach before me, who was a Russian legend. So I took his place, and they were not happy that I was a foreigner there. They weren't very happy with me, and I got no response at all. I did it, but nothing positive. And then by maybe November, when I was having it once a month, now I was okay. They'd have a shot of vodka with me. Now I was okay because we were winning and the team was doing okay. So I had to learn and earn their friendship. I had to learn their respect.
So they started to accept it. Working with national team is harder than working with a club?
Yes.
Why is that?
You have a country following your results, not just a city. You have difficulty in making sure you can get the players to play the roles because every player who comes is the best player from their team. And you have to be able to build a team, not just have 20 good players. Everybody has to play a certain way. So you have to try to put that together and make sure they understand what their role is. Do they accept it, as I talked about earlier? And then, of course, you're playing a very short tournament. You might only have 3 or 4 practices before you start playing. And you better be sure you play well, because if you lose 2 out of 4 games, you don't go to the gold medal. You don't even have a chance to go. So every game is so pressured because you only have so few games to play. It's not easy.
You made it also to the Olympics with the team of Sweden.
Yes.
How was that? I think it was in 98 in Nagano, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it was Nagano. What was it? What was the year? 98?
98,
yeah. 98, yeah. Working with the Swedish Federation was fantastic. And most of the Swedish players I knew because they were playing in NHL. So even though it was Sweden, it's still NHL players, most of them. And we went over as a group, and they were fun to work with. And I was working with Peter Forsberg's father. And he was a good coach and a good person to work with. So we had a chance, and then we lost one of our key defensemen because of dual citizenship, and we couldn't replace him, and we lost the game, and you don't have a chance to continue on if other teams don't.
So what memory you have from the Olympic Games? Not that good?
Nagano was tough. Were you in Nagano? It was a tough place because of difference in language and situations, and
it's Japan.
And going to the dining hall at different times and having, either Asian food or this food or this food, and at the same time we had a lot of pressure, so it was not easy. Sweden wanted to win a gold medal. Of course they do.
Okay, we go more into the general interest now. So, how do you motivate young athletes to balance school and sports?
That's probably one of the most difficult questions and difficult answers to have, because there's different ways to motivate them. But I think you have to, as much as you say, well, we can't challenge young players too much. They like challenges. Mm-hmm. They like competition. They like to have acknowledgement of you doing a good job. So I think we have to be very careful as coaches that we reinforce any type of good things. We have to reinforce the positives continuously. And not just with a few players, but with all the players. In every group you have, let's say you have 20 players on a team. Of those 20 players, I might have 5 or 6 players who just love to come to the rink. I don't even have to say hello to them. They're okay. They're what we call the army, or the grunt workers. They just, doesn't matter who coaches them, they're happy to be there. Then I have the 5 players who are a pain in the rear end because I have to work with them all the time. Listen, it's okay. You're going to be okay. Like, you have to keep building them because they go up and down, and you have to work with those guys to make sure they have the right mindset. And then you have to make sure those who are new to come in are part of the team, not just, okay, you're an extra. No, you're part. So you have to build a team mentality.
But you don't separate them because he's less talented in hockey. You are keeping them together.
If you don't keep them together, you won't win. And you know why you win championships? Is because that player who you think is never going to be a great player scores a goal. It does something better. You almost always win because somebody who you don't think should be that champion that day is a champion that day. So that's why you keep even the players who aren't great, because they'll get better. They'll improve. And sometimes your great players, they can't get any better because they've already topped out at their top 98%. And this guy down here is playing at 80%. So if I can make him 10% better, guess what? We got 90% now. And that's the challenge you have.
What's your favorite hockey moment, either as a coach or a fan?
I was lucky to have more than one, so I don't really have one. No, I don't have one. It's just a matter of having the chance to be where I was and working with probably the best thing I ever had from coaching in the NHL was working with great people. And hockey players are special. They're different than a soccer player. They're different than a basketball player. They're more together. They're more gregarious. They're more easy to approach. They're a different mindset.
Okay. If you weren't a hockey coach, what career path would you choose?
I'd probably coach football.
American football?
No, I'd coach European football.
Really?
Yeah, because I like it. There's a lot of similarities between, European football or soccer and hockey. And I love the way you can coach in all different countries. Think about it. If you're a good soccer coach, it doesn't matter what language you have. You can coach in Barcelona. You can coach in the English League, Premier. You can coach. There's so many different leagues. I mean, you have soccer everywhere. So if you're a good coach in soccer,
for hockey you need an ice rink.
Yeah, so. It's you have a lot of mobility, and I think there's a lot of similarities.
Is there routine for you before the games?
Yes.
What would be that?
And I think I should talk about this for the players first. Every player who's a high-level player, they almost all have a special routine they do. And that gives them confidence of doing the same thing that prepares them mentally to start the game. And sometimes they'll readjust it at times, but you can't just come and say, oh, we got to play a game now. No. There's a process of when do you start preparing yourself. Certain players start earlier, certain players start later, but there's preparation. And if you don't have confidence, you'll never win. If you don't have confidence, you'll never have success. You have to have some sense of confidence because that gives you a chance to go out and play without being scared of performance. If you're scared of losing, you're not going to win.
I asked you this because once I've been working together with a football coach, and I remember that we went to a game maybe in Bucharest, and he had a routine that we must go with the bus forward, never backward, to park it near the stadium. It's a kind of weird thing, but if the driver was doing that, he stopped the bus, he went out from the bus and never be on the bus when he's going like backward.
Hockey players are probably the most superstitious of all athletes. Superstitious, you know what that means? Okay.
Yeah.
And they do the same things all the time. I mean, really, once it's successful, and same way we go, same coffee we have, same time, same this, same, I mean, it's very, and even on the bench, even how they dress. I mean, which hockey players tape their shin pads the same as they did when they're 6 years old? Come on. But they're superstitious. The same angle, the same, I tape the right leg and then I tape the left leg.
And are you also superstitious?
A little bit.
In what way? Can you tell me that?
No, it's just certain things that prior to a game, you're almost looking for certain signs of, today is whatever it was. I mean, I don't want to get into it too much, but yeah, there's superstitions.
Okay. How do you relax outside of the high pressure games or world of hockey?
Family was great. Takes your mind off it. My wife was tremendous in the sense that she knew the pressure situations and, took care of a lot of things I couldn't take care of because of your time. So without that, you wouldn't give you a chance to relax or feel because you're taking care of things that she helped take care of. So if you're going to be successful, it's never an individual process. It's help. You have help from your family, help from friends, help from, whatever it may be, assistant coaches. It's not easy.
What would be your message to the parents?
That's probably the hardest question you have, because the message I'll have for parents in hockey, not just other sports, but hockey especially, it's the hardest game to evaluate. And it's hard for a parent to evaluate how their son or daughter is doing. I mean, sometimes they're only watching, in North America, some are even watching their clock to see how many minutes their son plays or daughter plays versus somebody else. And also, too, is because it cost quite a bit of money to play hockey. I think the more money you pay, the more a parent feels they have entitlement to have a voice about what's happening. And the coach has to find the right way to approach a parent so that you don't have conflict. And a coach has to approach a parent the right way to make sense of what's happening and to say where their son or daughter is at, because you don't understand that he's not as good or she's not as good as the person they had in front of them. Oh, of course they are. She's bigger than she is, or he's bigger than the person. It's not size, it's talent. It's how you play, it's how you think. So it's a very fine line of how you deal with parents. But I think if you're going to be a successful coach or organization, you bring parents in before the season starts to explain your philosophy. So the parents are right there. They're sitting. The games haven't started yet. Here's our philosophy, what we're trying to do. There's two ways to play. Do you play to win, or do you play for your player development? Okay, if you play to win, that means we're only going to play the best players the last period or last 10 minutes, or the ice time is not the same. This person's playing 20 minutes and your son's playing 10. Well, I'm not very happy. I'm paying the same money as the 20, person plays 20, but my kid's only playing 10. So you're not happy with that because it costs the same. I think my kid's as good as theirs. Of course you do. It's your own kid. So that difficulty has to be approached. And as an organization, you have either two ways to play it. One is we're playing everybody, and that means everybody's going to get a chance. We may lose, but we're trying to develop everybody. Or we're only going to play the best. We're going to try to win every game. If you're into this one, don't come to me because your son or daughter is not playing as much as somebody else. I'm telling you now, we're playing to win. Or we're playing everybody. So don't come to me and say, why didn't we try to play only the best players? You have to understand the philosophy of the two different ways. One is to win now, and one is to have a team that's going to have a chance to win later.
When you stopped coaching, you started to work on the development side.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between these two works? Because, okay, I know what's the difference, but from your side, what's the difference?
Well, when you have very good teams, okay, you don't even recognize that almost the entire team has good hockey sense or hockey IQ. They think the game well. And that's why they're successful. They don't just play, but they think the game. There's a difference. How do you support each other? You don't, it's not an individual game where you have to go through 5 players. You win because you can pass the puck and use the people around you to make a play, or defensively, play defensive collectively. So I found the difference was the players who could play and support each other were able to play better than those who played individual, no matter what the skill was. And then I was frustrated because I couldn't find the way to improve this player's hockey sense or hockey IQ. It's the hardest thing to do. I can't say here in Romania, but I can say that this in North America, we have a lot of good individual skill coaches. They're skill coaches. You go on the ice, you work on your edges, you work on your backward skating, you step out, you step in, you work on your turns, you work on handling the puck through pylons, you go through sticks. That's good because you're teaching a skill. But he hasn't made one pass, hasn't had to think one thing about where do I go to support this person? Where do I go if they lose the puck? So in essence, it's good for individual, but it does nothing for collective play. So who's out there teaching collective play? Nobody. So we have to find a way to help coaches improve their practices so the practice replicates the game, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Why do we practice? We practice for a lot of intrinsic reasons, competition, learn sportsmanship. We practice for a lot of things, have fun, but basically we practice because we want to have a better game performance as an individual and as a team for sure. We want to play better. We want to have a better game. So if we want to have a better game, we best replicate what's happened in that game in practice and do it over and over again. And we're not doing that in North America. So that's my journey right now, is to try to improve coaches and improve their practice methodology. If I can help them improve their practice to replicate the game, the player will play the game easier and faster because he's already done it in practice. And video is a big tool in North America. I don't know how much video is used here, but video is very big. And with the computerized situations now, you have video for everything. You can pick up every shift. You can watch games. You can watch everything. And they break it down for you. They have offense.
And
they
analyze it.
Yeah. Okay. That's great to get an overview of what happened or what didn't happen or what should have happened. But when you watch video, it's past. It's done. It's not happening now. It happened before, okay? And then secondly, you're a player in front of me and I'm showing video to you, okay? You're watching it, I'm showing you the video. And you say, oh, I see it now. I see it because, you're showing me. And the camera's at 100 feet or 60 feet. So the camera gives you a beautiful overview of what's around you. You go on the ice again and you're saying, where is that view? I can't see it because you're 6 foot and I'm not up here at 60 feet. I've never seen all these heads in around this. So you're looking like, I just saw it in the room, but I don't see it on the ice. So you as a coach have to understand, you showed video, it gives you an overview of what you could have done or what you did do well or what, but on the ice, the person doesn't see it. It's not the same view. So if I had a camera on top of my helmet, then I might be able to show it again and be more realistic. But that's why sometimes video doesn't correspond to a person learning. Mm-hmm. That's why we have to do in practice.
But I guess you've been using a lot of video analyzing during your career. So
actually, Scotty Bowman, no, we didn't.
You didn't?
No, we used just enough.
Okay.
And we're lucky to have good players who thought the game well, so they didn't need a lot. And realistically, players like to see things, especially positive. When somebody says, boy, that coach, he speaks well and I understand him and we have a good language because he's speaking positive. But the same guy who speaks the amount of time negative, I don't understand the coach. No, he doesn't have good communication. He's saying the exact same, but negative versus positive. That's why you have to be careful as a coach.
How much or what was the biggest change since, let's say, from the 70s till today in hockey? It's the speed or...
The game is not the same. It doesn't have the same beauty that it once had. It was probably caused in 2005 when they changed some of the rules. You know, there's no more red line. You can make a long pass, two-line pass is okay. You're dumping the puck in a lot more than carrying it in. Mm-hmm. You're not going back and regrouping to try to have possession and we're going to come together and attack you. It's more quick strike, long pass, let's play fast. So coaches have screwed up the game, not the players. Seriously, it's us. We're the ones who are telling the kids to play fast, you know, long pass, get it out of here. We don't want the puck on our end. I don't care what you do with it, just get up the ice. And, you know, the kid's saying, you know, I can do more than just throw it up in the air, but no, that's what I want. So the coaches are sort of forcing the kids to play a game that's not natural. And we're playing so fast that the players can't think. They can't think Mach 2. They can think Mach 1, but not Mach 2. Let's play faster. Hell, I can't even play the last speed we played. How am I going to play even faster? So that's the problem we have. It's a game of chaos, I think. So we better practice chaos.
As far as I know, you have 7 rings like this.
No, not like this. This is a big one.
This is the big one. So you like rings?
Every team that you have, they decide how much they want to spend per player for rings. They're the ones. So it's not a generality. They can put whatever they want on it. So the one I brought here is a 2013 a Chicago Blackhawk ring. And it's one of the biggest ones I had with, I mean, you can't even wear it on your hand. So you can't close your fist or whatever. So
you are not wearing it.
I've never worn a ring after I won it. Maybe for the first little while for people to look at, because my mindset is, hey, fantastic. We won this. Now let's put that away and let's win another one. Not just say, okay, we have one. No. But I share it when I come to places, especially with young players here. It's fun for them to see something to have, you know, in their projection of a long time. Who says somebody from here can't win a Stanley Cup? Nobody. Nobody can tell a kid here that he cannot win a Stanley Cup. It's a possibility. The same stories are out there all the time, coming from all kinds of places.
Is there a special place where you keep it?
It's in a safe.
No, I mean, it's not near your bed or in your office or...
No, I put it away.
Okay.
Yeah. As I told you, it was great to have, but my mindset is, okay, let's do something else now.
How important is that ring for you?
I would say this one isn't as important as Detroit's rings, because I wasn't a coach on the bench with this ring. I just bring it because it has the most diamonds and emeralds, and it's awful big. Mm-hmm. But each ring has different backgrounds, because each one has a different story. How you got there, who you played, how'd you have to get through it to win it? Each one is a different story.
As far as I see, the Detroit one is your favorite.
Yes. Yep.
Why is that?
Maybe because of the bond we had between all the different mentalities we had in that team. 5 Russians, Swedes, you know, we had Canadians, US, we had everything. And it came together and it was a really good bond.
Are you still in contact with those players?
Sure. Yep. Not each one, but many of them. And many of them probably want to forget me too, so it's okay.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, Barry, thank you very much for being here together with us.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here. And as I said to you, it's an honor for me to have a chance to come here and work with the coaches and work with the administration. And I have to make sure everybody understands you have a fantastic situation here to build players. You have the necessary ingredients, and now it's up to the players to understand what they have and try to go for it. I mean, it has to be internal. There has to be an internal drive to be that top player. I can't yell at somebody. I can't ask them. It has to come from them.
Ez legyen a végszó. Barry Smith volt a mai vendégünk, és hát köszönöm szépen a figyelmet nektek, neki pedig köszönöm, hogy itt volt velünk együtt, és hát kövessétek továbbra is az SZJA podcastet, hiszen érdekesebbnél érdekesebb sztorikkal és történetekkel jövünk, nem beszélve a meghívottakról.